So this is now judgment and proposition. And we've said that judgment is the second operation of the mind. Okay? It's the second operation of the mind. The first one is simple apprehension. Okay, so let's define judgment. As we've said, it is the second act of the intellect or the mind by which it pronounces the agreement or disagreement between terms or ideas. Now, let me just define or explain the terms that are found in this definition. So we have already discussed what we mean by ideas or terms. Ideas are concepts, they are in the mind, and terms are words written or spoken we use to express our ideas or concept. So when we say that the mind pronounces the agreement or disagreement, it simply means that our mind or the intellect relates, connects, or combines ideas or concepts. Okay, so for example, you have the idea of mother and the idea of, say, Maria, then you can say Maria is a mother. So the mind connects this concept of this particular person, Maria, and the concept of a mother. Okay? And when the mind connects or combines, it pronounces the objective identity or non-identity of ideas, meaning the agreement or disagreement of ideas or concepts. So when I say Maria is a mother, then I am pronouncing, the mind pronounces the agreement or identity between the two concepts. Okay? If you say a square is not a circle, so we have concept of square and not circle and circle, we connect the two by pronouncing the non-identity or the disagreement, because we say the square is not a circle. Okay, so agreement, disagreement. Now, the product that the mental product of judgment is enunciation. Meaning, if concept is in the mind, a concept, Maria, uh, square, circle, house, and so on, there are concepts. When we combine them in our mind, in our intellect, we form a judgment. We call that enunciation. Okay, so enunciation is like concept, it's in the mind. It's a mental judgment. So an enunciation may be a simple assertion, a statement, or a claim. So when you think of, say, square is not a circle, Manila is a city, the sun is not shining, what else? Two is a number, or the book is useful, etc., etc. These are simple assertions. In the mind, we call them enunciation. Okay? So, an affirmative judgment or assertion, so keep the term, remember the terms assertion, statement, claim, because they mean the same. It's an expression of agreement or identity between two concepts or two ideas. While a negative judgment or assertion or statement or claim is an expression of non-identity or disagreement of ideas or concepts. So here are some affirmative assertions. We can say all X are Y, or all Sumasians are honest. Some professionals are experts. So these are all affirmative assertions. Or the sun is shining, or say the virus is still spreading. These are all affirmative assertions. Okay. Now the negative assertions, we say no X are Y. Bird is not a reptile. Some politicians are not sincere. The sun is not shining. Today is not Sunday. So these are all negative assertions. Okay? So affirmative assertion, negative assertion. Now, so remember, a judgment is an assertion, it is a claim, it is a statement. In the mind, we call them, or we call these enunciations. or mental assertions. But when we express them, we use statement or proposition, sentence. Okay. Now, let's go to this next element, truth and judgment. And this is actually part of the discussion before, but we did not discuss truth in the earlier part of our class. So I'm going to discuss truth part of this lesson. What is truth? There are many definitions of truth, but in logic, this is how we define it. It's the agreement or a correspondence of the mind, meaning of our enunciation or proposition or of our judgment with reality. So if we have this enunciation or assertion or statement in the mind, and it corresponds and agrees with what is in reality, then it's true. So when we say, for example, the sun is not shining, we look out the window and the sun is not shining. So what I said about the sun agrees with reality. Therefore, it is true. Okay? If I say a vaccine has been tested, or a vaccine has been produced. If there's no vaccine that has been produced yet, then that assertion is false. So that's the meaning of true or truth. When what is in our mind corresponds or agrees with reality. So truth is not always an affirmative statement. It could also be a negative statement. So you say, today is not Sunday. That is true. It also agrees with reality, because today is not Sunday. It's actually Saturday today. Okay? That is the meaning of truth. Agreement of what is in our mind with what is in reality. The apple is sweet, but if the apple is not sweet, then that's a false statement. Okay? Or when you say, there will be suspension of classes, but classes are not suspended, then that's a false statement. Okay? So, truth becomes a logical issue, meaning it becomes a subject matter, it becomes real, it becomes applicable in the second operation of the mind. Because it is in the mind, or it is in the second act of the mind, where the intellect or mind relates, connects, compares, pronounces whether the two ideas or concepts agree or disagree. So when the mind pronounces the agreement, but in reality there's no agreement, then it is false. And when the mind pronounces the disagreement, but in reality there is agreement, then it is also false. So for example, let's say, I make this statement, Cory Aquino is the first woman president of the Philippines. So I'm making this assertion, Cory being the first woman president of the Philippines. It agrees with reality. Then what I said is true. Okay? But if I say, for example, the Philippines is not an Asian country, it does not agree with reality. It is, in fact, an Asian country. Then what I said is a false statement. So truth becomes an issue when we make this connection between ideas. But if I just say Philippines, no relation to any other concept, I'm not making a statement, just Philippines, then it cannot be said to be true or false. Okay? So here again, let's give more example. The term lady and beautiful in themselves are neither true nor false. If you just say lady or beautiful, there's no truth or false to that. But when the mind connects and relates these two terms and expresses whether they agree or disagree in a statement, then we can say that whether the resulting statement is true or false. So the sentence, "the lady is beautiful," can be said to be true or false, depending, of course, if the lady is in fact beautiful. So again, the basis of the truth is reality, the facts. Okay? Because we can always say, we can always make a statement, we can be convinced about our statement, but no amount of convincing, of confidence in your statement will make it true if it does not agree with reality. It's like we can express our opinions, but our opinions will only be true depending on facts. Okay? And opinions, they do not change the facts. It can change our view, our perception of the facts, but it will never change the facts because the facts are the real things. Okay? So this means that truth is relational. It occurs through the relation or connection of two concepts or objects. Objects or concepts, as we have said, by themselves are neither true nor false. If you just say, well, Maria, Philippines, city, number, book, apple, sun, shining, etc., they are neither true nor false. It's when we connect them and when we form a statement out of them that they can be true or false. So, as we've said, truth has an objective basis in reality. That is why we say that truth is the agreement of the mind or correspondence of the mind or correspondence of our assertion with reality. Okay? So what is in the mind is subjective. What is in reality is objective. So if the asserted identity or non-identity of two concepts or objects has basis with reality or agrees with reality, then the assertion, the statement of the mind is true. Now, this is what we call the truth value of the statement. This is the truth value of the statement, the truth value of the assertion of the mind. It's being true or false. So if a statement agrees with reality, say, I say today is Saturday, and it agrees with reality, then its truth value is true. If it does not agree with reality, okay, suppose we say today is Sunday, it does not agree with reality, then its truth value is false. I hope that's clear. No? So two truth values, true and false. If our statement agrees with reality, its truth value is true. If it does not agree with reality, then its truth value is false. Now, let's distinguish truth value from truth claim. This is very important. So truth value is objective, meaning it is based on facts, based on reality, based on evidence. A truth claim, okay, is our claim whether what we are saying is true or not. Okay? So, every time we say something, our claim is that what we say is true. Our assertions are true. That's our truth claim. So, truth claim is always subjective. When we say something, we always claim that what we said is true. So, for example, I'm giving a discussion, a lecture today. Of course, even without me saying, I claim that what I lectured today is true. Is it? It's rather weird if after you make a statement, you say, don't believe that, that's false. Because the truth claim is the default position of our mind. When we say something, for example, when you introduce yourself, I am so and so, I live this, I do this is my work, I'm studying here, etc., etc. our truth claim is that all that we've said is true. So truth claim is always subjective. Okay? It's different from the truth value. Okay? So when you say, for example, I am going to finish my course in the graduate school. I'm going to finish my course in the graduate school. That is a statement. It has a truth claim. You claim that that is true. I'm going to finish. But whether that statement will in fact be a reality, be true, that will depend on what will be the reality after 3 or 4 years. See? If that will agree with reality, if that will be made true by what you do. Okay? So, every utterance, every assertion, every proposition, every claim, every statement has a truth claim. And that is the claim of the speaker, of you doing the assertion, okay, that what he's saying or is speaking or writing or expressing is in fact true. So there's only one truth claim. It's always true. Okay. Now, the truth value, as we have said, is the objective value of the assertion, whether it is true or false. An assertion, as we have said, is true if it agrees with reality and false if it does not. And the truth value is independent of the truth claim. Okay? One can be convinced of the truth of his assertion, of his truth claim, but that would not affect the truth value of the claim or assertion unless he does something to make it true or agree with reality. So I can say, well, it's not raining outside. That's my truth. That's my assertion. And I'm claiming that that is a true statement. It's not raining outside. Now, no matter how I'm convinced that it is not raining outside, it will not affect the fact that it's actually raining outside. See? So there's a difference between truth claim and truth value. So when somebody tells you this, okay, I'm going to pay you. There's a truth claim to that. But the truth value of that will depend whether he's going to pay or not. Whether he will make it agree with reality. Okay? So there's a difference between truth value and truth claim. And keep in mind, when people say something, the truth claim is that it's always true. But it is independent of the real value, whether it is true or false. Because it will depend on its agreement with reality. Okay. Any questions so far? I hope that is clear. Any question? Still there? So I still have an audience.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So let's move on. Okay, so hopefully you're getting the lesson. You can understand the lesson. But just in case there are things that you can understand, again, please ask question. Okay, because the lesson in this kind of course, you cannot miss any of the basic concepts because we pile up knowledge here. Okay, so okay. Anyway, the proposition. So it's a judgment or assertion expressed in a sentence. So what is in the mind enunciation, but when we write, when we say, no, we are expressing them in propositions. Okay. So a proposition is an assertion or statement. It always makes a claim about a subject matter. It always has a truth value. It may be true or false. And no proposition can be both true and false. Okay, so there's only one truth value, either true or false. Now, what is the meaning of the proposition? Let's say meaning of the proposition, it means the sense of the proposition, what it says. And not every sentence is a proposition. It's a sentence, but not every sentence is a proposition. For it to be a proposition, that sentence must express an assertion or claim that is meaningful or coherent. Okay? So, example here. 3 is a crowd. That is not, literally, that is not a proposition. Because, it can be a sentence. 3 is a crowd, it's a sentence. But it's not a logical proposition. Because it's not coherent. I mean, from an analogical or metaphorical standpoint, that yes, but from a logical standpoint, that is not a proposition. Different sentences may express the same proposition. Like, for example, John is the husband of Mary. That's a different sentence. But it's the same as Mary's husband is John. Okay? So, different sentences, but the same proposition, meaning the same assertion. The same assertion. Now, let's go to the types of proposition. This is based on Aristotle's classification. So, first one is the categorical. So, it's a proposition that expresses a direct judgment or a direct assertion of the agreement or disagreement of terms in an absolute manner. So, we call this assertoric proposition. Okay, so examples here. A book is useful. So, it's categorical. The weather is fine. That's categorical. Okay, or you can say, the sun is not shining. That's also categorical. That's negative. These two examples are affirmative. Okay, a categorical proposition always makes a direct claim. Therefore, its truth value, whether true or false, is directly known. The second is a hypothetical proposition, which does not express a direct judgment, rather a relation between two judgments, one of which, or the truth of which, is dependent on the other. Okay. Example here, if the book is useful, you can keep it. If there is no typhoon, then the weather is fine. So notice that there are two propositions involved here. Okay, the first one, the book is useful, and you can keep it. There is no typhoon, the weather is fine. So these are the two propositions. And in this hypothetical proposition, you have two categorical propositions. The book is useful, you can keep it. Here, there are also two propositions. There is no typhoon, and the weather is fine. That's the nature of hypothetical. It's a combination of two judgments. Now, let's focus on the categorical proposition first. There are two elements, matter and the form. Sorry, let's discuss about the matter first. Matter. Matter is the sense, the meaning, or the substance of the proposition. What the proposition says, what the statement says, what the proposition is all about, or what the proposition states. And this is expressed by the subject and the predicate. Okay, the subject and the predicate. Now, the form is the structure or the pattern or flow of the proposition. And it states whether the proposition is affirmative or negative, affirmation or negation. And it is expressed by the copula. So let's have some examples here. Some students are hardworking. So from this statement, based on its subject, student and hardworking, we see what is the proposition all about. What it says something about students, that some students are hardworking. So that is the matter, the meaning, the substance, the content of the proposition. Okay, it says something about students. It says something about hardworking. So, some is the quantifier. Okay, I hope you are listening. Please listen very intently. Focus on this because this will be complicated later on if you don't follow my discussion. So, some is the quantifier, meaning it tells us that this proposition here is a particular proposition because this is the subject, students, and based on this quantifier, some students, that means this is a particular subject. The predicate is hardworking. Okay, the predicate is hardworking, and the copula here, the verb that links the subject and the predicate, are. So you see here that this is an affirmative proposition. Okay, affirmative proposition. So I hope you are following the discussion. No? And if I am talking rather fast, discussing rather fast, please interrupt me and tell me to slow down. Okay? If there's something that you can understand, please tell me about it so we can explain this much clearer. Okay? So again, some students are hardworking, quantifier, subject, copula, predicate. Okay? All right. Let's have some more examples, maybe. Uh, um, wait. So I will just show you this so we can. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is a blank. This is a blank screen. So I will just start something here. Okay, so we can have more examples of the proposition. So we say all uh, students are honest. Let's have that as our example. Can you see that? Can you see
Yes,
this?
sir.
Okay, so let's have. Okay, sorry. So here in this example, student all would be the quantifier. Okay, so the quantifier tells us whether the subject is universal or particular or singular or collective. Of course, sometimes uh, this may not be uh, uh, sometimes we may not have the quantifier. Okay, so it could be just students are honest. So it's up to you to figure out whether students is universal or particular. And students would be the subject, and honest the predicate, and are is the copula. Okay, this is an affirmative statement. So we can say the sun is not shining. So the sun is the subject. Okay, shining is the predicate, and is not is the copula. Okay, so this means that this is a negative proposition. First one is an affirmative proposition. This one is a negative proposition. Okay, I hope that is clear. Okay, uh, so now let's move to let's continue. Stop presenting. So let's go back to my slide. Okay. Now, let's go to the next topic here. The logical properties of the categorical proposition. Again, when you say properties, these are the characteristics, the features of the proposition. And there are two kinds. You have the absolute properties and the relative properties. When we say absolute properties, these are the properties of the propositions, no, in themselves. Meaning, every proposition will always have these two, quality and quantity. The relative properties, opposition equivalence, you will acquire, or we can see these properties if we have two propositions, two statements. Okay? If there's only one statement, there cannot be opposition or equivalence. But a proposition will always have quality and quantity. Okay? I hope that's clear. Now let's go now to the affirmative proposition. So we've said affirmative expresses that the predicate is affirmed of its subject. It simply means that you can apply the predicate to the subject. Okay? According to the whole of its comprehension and part of its extension. Let me explain that. So let's have an example here. UST is a university. Okay? So please follow me on this. Again, UST is the subject. University is the predicate. Is the copula, meaning this is an affirmative statement. Now, here, some politicians are influential. So here is the subject, influential the predicate. This is a particular quantifier, therefore this is a particular subject, particular proposition, affirmative proposition. Okay? So, it must, sorry, I'll go back to the next slide. May I just ask if you can see the whiteboard behind me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so because I will be using this to illustrate this. Okay, so I hope you follow me on this. So I said UST is a university. Can you see the entire statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So this is subject. You use S to signify that is a subject. Okay, and this is the predicate. All right, and this is affirmative, and we normally use the plus sign to indicate that is an affirmative statement. Okay, now you say that UST is a singular subject, right? So we can use either S to say that it's a singular subject, or we can also use U, because we've said singular and universal are the same. The P here, university here. Okay? Now, when we say UST is a university, if these are all the universities, can you see this? Can you see that? See that?
Yes, sir.
Good. So, we say that this is a particular term. Why particular? Because when we say UST is university, UST is inside the extension of the university. That means this is part, UST is part of the extension of the university. That's why we say it is a particular term. Okay?
Okay, sir. Yeah.
So remember class, if the proposition is affirmative, the predicate, capital P, predicate, is a particular term. Because just like in it. So if you're familiar with the Venn diagram, so we say all S are P. Which one is the S? The circle inside or the bigger circle?
Circle.
The smaller, sir.
The smaller circle, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, the smaller circle. This is S and this is P. You follow?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's use some politicians are influential. How would that be? So I will erase this. This is, well, our discussion is recorded, so I'll just share with you the link of this discussion, so you can go back to this if you need to. It will also help if you are also taking down notes, no? Not just listening, because again, it's going to be like this all throughout. Okay, this will not just be I'm talking, and then you will just be listening. No, I will. That's why I have my whiteboard with me here, so that I can illustrate to you better. I was trying, trying different means, different things, how to do this in the in my keyboard, but nothing beats the whiteboard. No, nothing really beats the actual class in the classroom when I can do this, in front of my students. I've actually installed several. I have some cameras here, one video cam, but I don't know how I can utilize that. But anyway, so some politicians are influential. So some politicians are influential. Okay. So again, this is the subject. This is the predicate. R is affirmative. Okay. Because some, this is P. So it's obvious that some politicians. Now, since that is an affirmative statement, this P here is a particular term. Because if you're going to put that in a Venn diagram again, this will be S, the politicians, because only some. Okay? And this will be P. And this will be our statement. Some politicians are politicians. Okay? So this is the statement. Okay? Clear?
Yes,
Clear?
sir. No, yes, sir. Clear.
Good. Now let's move to this one. Must be remembered that based on this, the definition, the predicate of an affirmative proposition is always particular, except if the predicate of the proposition is a definition of the subject. Okay, like the one you see here. UST is a Catholic University of the Philippines. Okay, if you say UST is a university, it's not a definition because there are many other universities, right? FEU, UP, Ateneo, La Salle, Harvard, what else? Okay, and one of them is UST. But if you say UST is the Catholic University of the Philippines, then that is a definition. That's the title of UST. Then that means this is S, this is P, this is singular, or you can call it universal, and this is also singular. Why? Because there's only one Catholic University of the Philippines, and that is UST. Okay? If you say a dog is a four-legged, a dog is a four-legged animal. Okay? Is a four-legged animal. Four-legged is not a definition of a dog. So you will write this as S or U plus P particular. Okay? Because there are many other four-legged animals. And one of them is a dog. So you are using this predicate as a particular term. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Sister, clear? Mr. Chen, Miss Chen, sorry. Miss Chen, clear? Hello, Miss Chen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So the rest, I hope you are following. Okay, so uh, please follow the discussion because this will be foundational. Okay, this will be a basic part of our discussion, and we're going to use this in our next topics. Okay, now let's go to the negative statement. So one whose predicate is always denied of its subject according to the part of its comprehension and whole of extension. So let's have an example here. A square is not a triangle. Okay, so how do we put that in a schema? What I'm illustrating now is the schema or the pattern of the proposition. Okay, schema. So triangle. I'm sorry. Is not a square. So here S P. Okay. Can you see the entire? Can you see the whole sentence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm just making sure na hindi siya putol. No. So a square. Again, you can either use S or U here, but for convenience, we can just use U. No, it's the same. Not. So it's negative. Okay, and that's the P. Now, in a negative proposition, this predicate here is always universal. No, remember, U is universal. S is singular. P is particular. Okay, why universal? In a diagram, it will be like this: a square. So, if these are all the squares, these are all the triangle. A square or a triangle here is not a square. So that means there's no extension, no part of square applies to a triangle. So this one is a universal, meaning none of no the definition of a square cannot be applied to a triangle. So that's why it's called a universal. Okay, universal. But it says that part of its extension. Why? Because if you're going to define a square and a triangle, they will share one common feature as part of their definition. They will share the same genus, right? Both are polygons. So what we deny of the square is, or of the triangle of the square, is just the number of sides and angles, but not the genus, because both are polygons. Okay, so some officials are not honest. The same. It's a negative statement. Then the predicate honest is a universal proposition. Okay. Now, let's go to the quantity. The quantity of the proposition is dependent on the subject, and this is going to be easy because we have done an exercise on this already. So, universal proposition, the subject is a universal term. So, again, I have illustrated here, this is a universal term. Okay? Like, for example, here, all senators are legislators. Every metal is an electric conductor. Okay, so again, it can be universal. So it's universal, but it can also either be affirmative or negative. Okay. Particular. So some students are hardworking. So you can see the quantifier there. Many politicians are not sincere. Okay. Singular. You have the singular proposition, singular subject. The president is the commander-in-chief. This book is interesting. But again, as we've said, a singular proposition is the same as a universal proposition. And then, of course, the last one is the collective. Okay, so here, a group of men apprehended the suspect. The team won the match. But remember that that can change if there is a quantifier. Okay? All right. So, yan. Singular and collective propositions are considered universal propositions because their subjects, meaning the singular and collective terms, denotes universal extension. Okay, now, if we combine this quality and quantity, then we are going to have the four types of propositions or categorical propositions. No, so here, let's illustrate that here because I think I did not include that in the PowerPoint. So again, so quality and quantity. Quality is affirmative, okay, and negative. Quantity now is either universal, that includes the singular and collective, and particular. So if you're going to combine these four, you will have universal, uh, universal affirmative, okay? You're going to have universal negative and particular affirmative. Can you still see?
Yes, sir.
Ayan, ayan po.
Okay, and particular negative. Okay? And then we assign letters here. Universal affirmative, A. Universal negative, E. Particular affirmative, I. And particular negative, O. Okay? So here are the examples. So universal affirmative A, every Catholic is a Christian. Universal negative E, no man is immortal. Particular affirmative I, some businessmen are astute. And particular negative O, some public officials are not credible. Okay, so A, E, I, O. Okay? You understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes
Good.
po.
Actually, this term, these letters, A, E, I, O, came from the term affirmo and nego. Affirmo means, can you still see that in the screen? Hello, can you still see?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Kasi I don't know kung hanggang saan extent ng camera ko. So, affirmo, I affirm. So, yung A at saka I, affirmative. Nego, I deny. So, E and O. Okay? Questions? Any questions? Okay, so this is now the one I wrote, the schema that I wrote. Okay, so here showing you. So A, SU plus PP, meaning it's universal subject, affirmative proposition, particular predicate. Universal negative proposition E, universal subject, negative proposition, and universal predicate. If the proposition is I, particular subject, affirmative proposition, and particular predicate. Particular negative or proposition, particular subject, negative proposition, and universal predicate. Okay, so let's have okay. I will type again something on my screen, and then you make your own, no? You make your own. this is just for your practice. Okay. So I will show this.
Ano? Si Pai.
Di ba tinatulog na rin sa
GC. Pag sa GC, Tanong, ay anong meron dyan?
Tanong mo kasi,
At
Pai.
Meg, at RJ at Pai.
Hindi naman kasama sa GC.
Oo, sumama niya tayo.
dyan. Ciao!
Ay, ano na yun?
Okay, can you see this?
Uwi siyang
Hello.
Ano gusto niyo pasalubong at Meg at RJ at Pai? Kaya natin dito para makita yung mga kumbalustugan natin ginagawa.
Hello. Hello. Can you see my?
Sir.
So can you see my my screen?
Yes, sir.
Majority of senators are not in favor of the bill. Can you write your own schema here? All right. So write your own schema, and then so I'll give you around 2 minutes. Do it on your own. And then I'll do it. Show you how the answer to this. Okay. So just practice. You finished? You have to do it yourselves, so you get used to it, because again, as I've said, this will be part of the succeeding lessons. This is basic, actually. Anyone who would like to answer and share his screen? You can share a screen if you want to volunteer and do this. Again, practice makes perfect, no? So if there's no volunteer, then I will volunteer someone. Okay. So if you can see this, oh no, now I know where I can volunteer. Earl.
Sir,
Can you do this?
ay, siguro. Sige,
Ah?
sir, share ko yung screen, sir.
Yeah, just share your screen, and then we'll see, and then I
Paano ko share, sir?
I have to unpin, and how to share. I think you can. Nasa settings pa yun.
Wala, sir.
Wala. Wala. Okay. Oh, wala din dito. So, okay. Anyway, siguro I think next time I have to check on this. Okay. Now let's just. Sorry.
Nag-share ba siya, sir?
Huh?
Lumabas ba yung screen to, sir?
Oh, yeah, I think that's it. Ayan na. SB.
Negative.
Yeah, that's correct. That's
Sila, sir.
yeah, negative.
Ito, sir, favor of the bill, particular universe, predicate universe. Tapos, negative copy lang.
Good.
Tapos, majority of senators, subject particular.
Okay. Okay. Good, Earl. Good, good.
Because, sir,
Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay. So you see, that's how it is, no? So you need to practice more. So again, so that is the second. That would be the second assignment or the second exercise. Okay, that would be the second exercise. Now let me just show you. Maybe you can start. Let's just share. I think. Uh, all right, can you see this? Sorry. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is actually the exercise on the proposition, and maybe we can start. We can answer these first six here. Okay, and please answer no para masanay kayo. Number one, every citizen who has a sense of responsibility is a man who has the making of a good leader. Just answer A, E, I, O.
E.
Okay. Anyone? So again, I think
A.
that is
A.
A. A. Okay, A. So let's call someone. Cheryl, number two. Miss
Most
Cheryl.
Filipinos are Catholics.
What's
The
the answer?
answer is I.
Very good. I. Number three, Roland. Roland.
Hi, sir. Letter E.
Letter E.
Letter E.
Correct, correct.
Okay po.
And Madge. What do you call it? Madge. Madge. Number four.
Sir, number 4 is many children in many parts of the world are suffering from malnutrition.
That's the answer.
Letter I.
I. Very good. Okay, I. And then Sister Luja. Number five.
No, noontime shows are very entertaining TV program. I think that is. I think this is all.
That is O.
Yes.
It cannot be O. It cannot be O, sister, because it's an affirmative statement.
Or affirmative. That is A.
A, but sister, that is A if you think that all non-time shows are entertaining. Okay?
Entertaining.
Yeah. So if all of them are entertaining, this is going to be an A. If not, then it's going to be an I proposition.
I.
Yeah. And then wait. Sorry. Oh. Now, the number six. Number 6, Julian.
Sir, it's
It's an A.
A.
Yes, okay, correct. It's an A proposition. So I think, let's see. This is actually the exercise that you're supposed to answer, but I'm using it now for our discussion. And you can just finish the rest of this, no, in your assignment. Okay. So let's move on to the next. Now, let's go to the, can you see now my screen? Logical opposition?
No po.
No? Oh. Wait. Sorry. Okay, there you go. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let's go to the logical opposition. So remember the AEIO, okay? Don't forget that. A, universal affirmative. E, universal negative. I, particular affirmative. O, particular negative. Okay, and of course, how you're going to draw the schema of the syllogism or of the proposition. Now, opposition or logical opposition is the relation that exists between propositions with the same subject, okay, the same predicate, but different quality or quantity or both. Meaning, they talk about the same things because they have the same subject and predicate, but they differ whether the statement is an affirmative or negative statement or universal or particular statement. Okay? That's the meaning of opposition. Now, here are some examples. Some drivers are reckless. No driver is reckless. So, the same subject, drivers, driver, the same predicate, reckless, reckless, but they differ in quality. Affirmative, this one is negative. Yung no is an E proposition. Okay, so it's so remember here when it starts with no, this is an E proposition. So it's S U negative P U when it starts with no. So it's a universal negative statement. Okay. So next, all race cars are fast and no race cars are fast. The same subject, race cars, the same predicate, fast, different quality, affirmative, this one is negative, but the same quantity, the same universal extension. Both are universal. Okay? Next, some actors are talented and some actors are not talented. So the same subject, the same predicate, the same particular extension, some, but different quality, affirmative, negative. Okay? No hero is a traitor. Some heroes are not traitors. So E, universal negative, particular negative. Okay? So these are all logically opposite propositions because although they say the same things, okay, but they differ in quality or quantity or both quality and quantity. Okay? Clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Clear po.
Okay, now let's see. Let's go back to the AEIO because you need to really master this. Otherwise, it will be a problem if you don't get this now. So again, let's have some participation here. I will ask you to identify what type of propositions are in the PowerPoint. So let's, Ali.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Some drivers are reckless. What type of proposition?
I.
I. Good. Earl, no driver is reckless. What type of proposition?
Universal statement.
E. Good. Elaine, all race cars are fast. Elaine?
Sir, I think it is A
All
po.
A. Good. A. Okay. Miss Chen? Miss Chen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No race cars are fast. What proposition?
I think it's E.
E. Very good. Good. And John Carlo, some actors are talented.
Particular affirmative po, I.
I. Very good. Okay. Julian, this one, some actors are not talented.
Opo.
Oh, very good. Sister Lucia, no hero is a traitor. Sister Lucia?
Pardon?
No hero is a traitor. What type of proposition?
This is E.
E. Very good. Very good. And Mads, some heroes are not traitors.
Sir, open.
Oh, okay. Very good. Okay. Okay. Good. 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 Now, so let's now continue. Okay. So there are 4 types of opposition. Okay, 4 types of opposition. The first is contradiction or contradictory. It is the opposition between the A and O proposition and E and I. So contradictories, they differ in quality and quantity. So A and O are contradictories. E and I are also contradictories. So for example here, this is an A proposition. All Thomasians are diligent. And the contradictory proposition is an O proposition. Here, some Thomasians are not diligent. Okay, so all Thomasians are diligent is contradictory to the proposition some Thomasians are not diligent. Okay, another example. No law is unjust. This is an E proposition. So the contradictory is an I proposition. And what is the I proposition? Some laws are unjust. Okay? So keep that in mind. Contradictories are A and O and E and I. Okay? Clear?
Clear, sir.
Good. So let's do this step by step, no? Para hindi kayo ma-confuse. Contrariety. This is the opposition between the 2 universals. And what are the 2 universal propositions? A and E. So this is an example. All mothers are considerate. The contrary is E. All mothers are not considerate. Okay? So A and E are contraries. Next, subcontraries. These are the 2 particular propositions. These are the I and O. Okay? So, here, example, some movies are educational. O proposition, some movies are not educational. Okay? And the last one is the subaltern. That's the opposition between A and I, E and O. So remember, subaltern, they have the same quality. Subalterns are both affirmative or both negative. So here, all scientists are great thinkers. That's an I proposition. So the subaltern is I. That is, some scientists are great thinkers. Okay? Another example. No criminal can run for public office. That's an E proposition. Therefore, the subaltern is an O proposition. Some criminals cannot run for public office. Okay? Those are the types of opposition. Okay? Clear? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see. So I'll just give you a few more examples, and then this is it, because we have I think discussed quite a lot, and it may not be it may be difficult to digest all of this. Okay, let's. Oh, sorry. I will show you. I will show you again this other slide here. This other. Okay, here. Majority of senators are not in favor of the bill. Okay. Now, what proposition is this? What proposition is this?
O po.
O. Okay, so let's type O here. Okay, O. Okay. If this is an O proposition, what would be the contradictory proposition?
E po.
Contradictory.
E.
E?
A. A po.
So, A. Okay, so I will type the type proposition here, so you can see it. Okay, so there. So it's contradictory would be A. Okay, and what is the A proposition?
All senators po.
All senators are in favor of the bill. Okay. Okay. Now so let's separate this. Okay. So this is our reference. Okay. The first statement. What would be the sub-contrary proposition of this first statement?
I.
Very good. Good. So it will be some senators are in favor of the bill. Okay. And what would be the subaltern? Subaltern?
E.
E.
po.
Very good. E. So that would be no senators are in favor of the bill. Okay. So O in relation to A is contradictory. O and I are sub-contraries. O and E are subaltern. O does not have a contrary proposition because this is a particular proposition. Okay? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good. Any question? Any question?
None, sir.
None. All right. I think that will be about it, because the next topic will be the rules, and we only have 13 minutes, and it will not be enough to discuss the rules. It will just be... So your assignment is to answer the exercises on the proposition and logical opposition, at least until here, identifying the Let's see. I will show you the exercise. Okay. Can you see? Can you see now my
Yes, sir.
the screen? So it's on logical opposition. So this is what you would go do. Determine the opposition between the given pair of propositions. So here, number one, A, every individual has duty to perform. Some individuals do not have duties to perform. So in order to answer this, you will have to identify first whether this is A, E, I, O. Okay? Then after that, you will write here what is the opposition. So let's try this one. Itong number one lang. Every individual has duty to perform. What proposition is this?
A.
A. And some individuals do not have duties to perform.
O po.
O. So A and O. So what is the opposition between these two?
Contradictory.
Very good. So that's what you're going to write here. Contradictory.
Okay, sir. Noted po.
Okay, so I think that's about it. I think we have enough lesson for today. Hopefully you can digest this.